Now, friend, I'd like to invite our special guest, Devashis Bharuka ji. Now, he's a lawyer, advocate, Supreme Court of India. He is a person with whom, who got that wonderful judgment against that WB Hira case which we filed. It is a historic landmark judgment. More, he will talk about it. And Devashis ji was down with Corona. At that time, I was not aware. I came to know much later. He was also hospitalized, but still, with mask on his face, he continued with the hearing. Hats off to him, Devashis ji. The kind of hard work he has done, 700 pages of report he has filed, one single document of 700 pages. So if I'm wrong, it may be 690, something like that, close to 700 pages he has filed. It was a humongous task, and he did all the argument himself. Besides being a lawyer for us in the WB Hira case in the Supreme Court, which all the argument also he did. He's a writer. He has written many books. He's a master's in law from Harvard University, US. And as you know, he is doing his PhD also from Jindal Global University. He has an academic bent of mind and a very down-to-earth person. So dedicated, I cannot tell you. Devashis ji, it is our privilege. We are fortunate that you have taken out time. I know you are very, very busy. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to address us. If you can please take up the screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhay. Good evening to all, and to the office bearers of the HPC. I was very keenly hearing Abhay on what he spoke, and I felt that it's really coming from his heart. And parallelly, I was reading through all the messages which are coming through, which clearly is also coming from the heart of those home buyers who felt that they should have a house within a reasonable time, and they have been cheated by the builders, and how they feel the RERA authorities are not supporting them. And Abhay, I would really request you to go through those messages and collate them and see what best, because as a think tank for RERA, that's something which I'm sure with such a huge gathering of 218 people, they would expect that.
Sure, we'll do that.
Somebody indicated that the RERA is of no use. We should get into Gandhigiri and occupy properties of the builders and take over. So I will touch upon the topic I've been assigned, but just a few words before that, I do understand the frustration which is coming through, and the way people are reacting, and they feel that RERA is a failure. But as Abhay also indicated, if you permit me to just go to the pre-RERA period, any new law which comes about has its own course of operation, of implementation. And we are in that mid-course, in that mid-path, where there's a changeover of the system, and the system changeover takes its own time. It could be a few years, it could even be a decade, but that changeover is where we are in that mid-path, which we need to understand. And clearly where we feel RERA has failed in a big way, or maybe in a substantial way, and then we are not able to get justice what is required. But unfortunately, if you recall the earlier days, the pre-RERA days, what were we governed with as a home buyer? We were governed by the Indian Contract Act, which was of 1872. We were governed by the Transfer of Property Act, which is of 1882. We were governed for remedies. What were we governed by remedies? Suppose if a builder is not giving us the appropriate relief, we would go to a civil court. And we all know, unfortunately, the judicial delays in this country, and how long it takes to get remedies. Years together, and then execution of those decrees itself takes years together, and the builder obviously will want to approach a higher authority. Then there was a Consumer Protection Act which came out in 1986. I remember the earlier years of Consumer Protection Act when things were much faster. Abhay indicated about the National Consumer Forum. Initially, 5 judges used to sit in a single court, and there would be maybe like 15 days or 1 month of time being given, and we used to get reliefs much faster. As opposed to today, he has indicated 9 months, but I know I have seen into matters where they give a time of 1 year. So we moved on from that, and that is where the government felt that there is something which needs to be for the special body of consumers which go by the name of home buyers, and how the real estate has been working. In fact, just before RERA, there was also this matter before the Competition Commission of India, where they had moved, a home buyer had moved the Competition Commission of India. seeking certain relief against, I think, the builders across the country, where they say that all these people have come up with these contractual provisions which are more or less one-sided and which are almost common. And there they felt that there should be some kind of investigation by the CCI, but the CCI closed the issue by noticing that no, RERA is almost on way. And that's something of a light, a positive light into the rights of the home buyers. So the government felt and the committees felt that this is an area which is specialized area, and this is something which needs to be regulated, and the builders needs to be brought to books. And then there was these two committee reports, and then the entire bill and the discussion before the parliament, and that's how we have this RERA. Now, obviously, RERA as a statute cannot be perfect. No statute, no law is perfect, and implementation obviously is still worse. Still, at this point of time, when we see in 5 years, things have moved forward. I noticed on the website that there are almost 64,000 registrations of the project, 64,000 project registrations across the country. Now, even if we take that 1% of that, which is itself 664, are not working the way it should, we would appreciate that substantial portion probably across the country are still working well. There are always areas for improvement, and that is where I feel that bodies like FPCE comes into picture. These are strong pressure groups. These are think tanks. These are groups which can, and they're in every law, like Consumer Protection Act, there's a whole bunch of consumer protection groups all across the country. So the relevance of these groups cannot be undermined. And that's where I think it's a wonderful thing that Abhayji and the team have got at least this seminar on board. And at least the issues which they are attempting to put forward. The frustrations would be there. My request would be that collate all this one together, have it in a more structured manner, issue-wise, have a good research done, and then see how best we can put the government either to ensure that the authorities work well, or if certain amendments are required, we look for amendments. If nothing else, we can always go to a High Court or the Supreme Court under public interest litigation through a group like FPCE with proper research and working, and push how it goes. I mean, this has been my experience, especially with this particular case. I understand that the question answer session would be something people would want to hear more than this, but let me just quickly look into what this judgment is about and what the relevance of this judgment. So I've indicated that earlier we had all these Contract Act, Transfer Property Act, which used to govern this entire area. However, over the due course of time, certain states came up with their own legislations which were closer to RERA quite early in 60s, 70s, and 80s. We had Maharashtra, we had Karnataka, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh, Punjab. There were these few of these who had come up with legislations which were closer to RERA, where they actually gave more power in terms of controlling the agreement, giving certain rights to the home buyers, giving imposing certain obligations upon the builders. However, this eventually one felt at the national level that we need to have all India legislation. The committees were formed. There was a select committee, and they all felt that all India across the board, everybody is facing difficulties, and therefore we need to have a pan-India legislation. I think it was also important because we have a right to property, and we can purchase property across the country anywhere. So if that be so, it's always better to have a single legislation across the country. So this is how the background and how the RERA came about. And I feel that it's quite a game changer law. Again, there are problems in the implementation, serious problems in the implementation, which Abhayji has clearly indicated, and what I've been seeing from the messages, even the home buyers feel. But at the same time, to go back to the earlier regime would be worse. It's really to see how best we can make sure that this law is implemented better, or if there are amendments to be made or changes, that is what should be looked into. What happened was that the West Bengal somehow in 2017 felt that they should have their own legislation closer to RERA, and which they called as the West Bengal Housing Industry Regulation Act. That particular law, state law, was nothing but almost a copy paste of RERA itself. 80 to 85%, or rather I would say 90% of the provisions were absolutely identical, with certain tweaking, and this is where we have to be careful, with certain tweaking to the benefit of the builders. So the entire purpose really seemed to be able to create a state legislation beyond what the national legislation is, for the benefit of, or I would say towards tilting more towards the builder, as opposed to how maybe the RERA is, and how at least it has a balanced approach. So that is what we had challenged before the Supreme Court. We had challenged the constitutional validity of this state law, saying that so far as this law is concerned, this cannot be sustained because there is also already a parliamentary law governing the very subject matter which the state law provides for. And at least under the constitution, if you have to similar legislation, you have to have a presidential assent, which is not there. Very interestingly, the state came up with this argument that this is not covered in the same subject matter, that is contracts. It is actually covered under the housing industry. That was originally the argument of the state government, that this is in the form of an industry and not regulating the contract between the home buyer and the builder, which RERA squarely covers. That's really is the sum and substance of RERA. That was something which eventually during the arguments the state gave up, and they said that this is actually in addition to RERA. This is something which we are, it's almost like a similar of what RERA is. So we are not really contradicting RERA, and RERA permits additional laws. Now that's one thing again very important in terms of section 88, that one can have additional laws in addition to and not in derogation of RERA. So this West Bengal had this argument that it is nothing but an addition law in addition to RERA itself. Eventually, Supreme Court went quite deeply into this entire matter. They compared both the legislations closely, and they felt that this is nothing but a parallel statutory regime which has been created by West Bengal, which cannot be permitted. They even went to the extent of comparing certain areas where West Bengal had tweaked, and they felt that the benefits and safeguards given by RERA, by the central legislation, by the parliament, is actually been nullified by the state legislation and in few of these certain areas, and therefore they felt that that's something which cannot be permissible. So what they have really done, they have number one struck down the West Bengal legislation because there's lack of presidential assent. Also, they felt that this is all parallel statutory regime and should be only one central legislation which should govern the entire subject matter between home buyers and builders. They also gave a certain leeway in future that in case you have to have additional remedies or additional rights and obligations, then states may make laws in complementing RERA, but it cannot really go against RERA. And then what they also held was that the earlier West Bengal law of 1993, which also governs same subject matter, this is also impliedly repealed, and they struck down the West Bengal 1993 Act itself, again reinforcing the thought that it is RERA alone which can be enforced across the country. And I think quite clearly giving a message across all the states that one needs to now enforce RERA in whatever best manner it has to be done, in terms of its provisions, in terms of registration, in terms of the benefits being given by home buyers. I think that's a very strong message that the Supreme Court has given now, that no state can go independent on its own. It has to be a uniform implementation, whether the authority, the regulatory authorities, adjudicating officers, everyone needs to implement this single law, which is RERA. As regards the work which was already done in West Bengal, because earlier it was registering projects and working under the WB HERA. So to that extent, Supreme Court, under its special powers in Article 142, in order to avoid chaos and confusion, they said whatever has been done till now would remain as it is till now. It is only from the date of judgment when they have held the West Bengal law to be unconstitutional. They said that from that day onwards, it is RERA provisions which will apply in West Bengal. But till then, whatever has been done would be there. So this is really the sum and substance of what the judgment has come up with in terms of enforcing the central legislation across the country. And I'm really thankful to this entire team of FPC. They had given tremendous background material and work to be able to build up these arguments and to work forward. As I've indicated in the earlier itself, that I feel that there is much to be done in terms of RERA, how it can be implemented. There are a lot of areas where a lot of discretion is given to the authorities. And I think the delay is one of the issues which is prevalent in all the remedial measures across. We keep making new laws and we keep creating new authorities, and we expect them to work within time frame. For whatever reasons, they do not do it. But that's where the individual cases in terms of either pressurizing those authorities to be able to push it, or to come as a group, like consumer protection groups have always been there. Like the Consumer Protection Act permits those groups. So either you come as a group, like suppose a a few of the home buyers of a certain project or of a certain builder, they should consider forming groups and maybe pushing over to maybe going to the High Court, etc., to ensure that the authorities do their job within the time frame given. One needs to identify areas of concern with proper data and research collection and start preparing and pushing the concerned authorities or approach courts through PILs. I think there's a lot of question answer session which is coming up, Abhayji, so I wouldn't take more time. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity of interaction. Thank you.
Devasji, just wanted to discuss with you as with our discussion with regard to recovery. So, and I just would like your views on that with regard to recovery. As you know, in RERA, we have a problem that it says that it has all the dues has to be recovered as a arrear of land revenue. So what is your view? That is this a established way? There could have been better way, because we are facing problem that once a recovery certificate is issued, though delayed but issued, then we have to run to DM's office. It's a totally different office. So could something better could have been done, or this is established? Is this really established way? What is, I mean, it is the home buyers have to run pillar to post. So what is your view with regard to this method of recovery which is there in RERA?
Okay. When we say recovery, what do we really mean? We say that I have now a certificate for X amount and I need to recover it from the builder. Builder as an individual, how do you recover? Either you say that, okay, certain properties, you sell it and you recover one, or number two, you push it saying that you better pay the payment, or number three is in terms of getting him arrested through the process. But ultimately, one needs to approach an authority. Now, arrears of land revenue and its recovery is quite a well-established way of recovery. It's been there for quite long. So there's something like a concept of public demand, of which one of most of the states have a legislation of Public Demand Recovery Act. So under that public demand, it's defined, and one of them is recovery of land revenue. Under that, once you have a recovery certificate, you go to that particular authority, then he is not required to go through the entire process of trial to see whether you're entitled to that amount. So you enforce that certificate, and he is only issuing a notice to the builder. If he does not implement, he needs to immediately attach his properties, or he needs to arrest. So he has certain powers under the statute itself. The problem really arises is whether that authority, recovery officer, is pushing ahead in terms. The law is there, everything looks quite hunky-dory when we see the law and the system. If they, I mean, this is where I think again, as home buyers, we'll have to push forward that in case the concerned authority is maybe overpowered with work or for whatever reason, let us give us a benefit of doubt. But RERA being a special law for the home buyers, and it's actually a recovery of private money that way. It's not really a public demand. I would suggest that one should really pressurize now, or maybe again approach the appropriate government for amendment, or to the High Court for the time being, or even the authority, saying that for RERA now for this is something which is a huge work, and this is critical, and this is time sensitive. So you should have recovery officers, especially for RERA. Even with respect to going out of the system wouldn't help, because individually then having authorities across the country only for RERA is a very tough job. So this is a very well-established system, but yes, under that authority itself, under public demand recovery, etc., maybe one should consider having a RERA recovery officer, so that we know we go to them and then within a fixed time-bound period, we are able to get it recovered. So RERA provides for a recovery, but from there next forwards, I think there is no really time limit. So that time limit is where we have to really enforce upon. Otherwise, I mean, let's see, even if a civil court judgment is passed, then we go for execution. That also takes quite a long time in terms of, because there the court is given the power to attach the properties and then to ensure that it is auctioned and it is sold and you recover. So you need to have some authority to which you have to go. So this is an established procedure.
Devasji, in that case, what do you think? What is the reasonable time for a home buyer to wait after, suppose I have received the RC? How much time do you think you should wait and follow up with the DM's office? And then when can I go to higher? Like, I think as you have mentioned that go to higher court, that means I guess is High Court, respective High Court. So when can I start acting on that? When is the right time to now approach? Because court might also say, why have you come? It takes time. Now there's no time frame. But most of the rules of the states, if you see, they have provided 60 days time for recovery. But that is not happening in DM's office. So what is the right time frame after which I should go and approach the High Court and say that my recovery certificate is pending and it is not being acted upon? And that is the only way after it is not to go to High Court, or is there any midway in between where I can expect some relief?
See, if the rules provide for 60 days, we need to wait for
most of the rules provide.
We'll have to wait for 60 days. Before that, if we go, it becomes premature. But
Okay.
post 60 days, my suggestion would be really to go to the High Court, and it's not a long petition, a short petition where you say, okay, this is what is happening, and it's not being, and we are just here to enforce our statutory rights of recovery. And I don't see any reason why a High Court would not immediately call upon the concerned authority to say that at least you do a statutory duty and take a decision. That's something which we do on a regular basis. Even like there are certain matters pending before representation before central government, we regularly go to high courts and say it's been pending for now 3 months, 4 months. We just want a decision to be taken, that they should act within the statutory powers and let them take a call on whatever they have to do so that I know where I stand. So that's something which is again a very regular process. And high courts also, again, most of the high courts, the requirement is that whenever you file a petition against a government authority, you serve an advance copy on the other side. So mostly on the first day itself, there would be some lawyer appearing for that authority. So in all probabilities, on the first day itself, the matter gets disposed of with a small direction that we issue a writ of mandamus directing the authority to decide this particular application for recovery certificate within so much time, especially considering that he has already exceeded the time period given under the statute.
Thank you so much, Devashish. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure those so many parties must have benefited from your immense legal knowledge which you have given us. And I'm sure we will be using it for the benefit going forward. Thank you so much for all your insights and all your information.
Thank you so much for the opportunity of interaction. Thank you.
Thank you.